What's up, everybody? My name's Mike Sjogren, here with my co-host,
Emmanuel Pani.
We're part of a group of specialized real estate investors you've probably never heard of.
We didn't start with deep pockets or wealthy families, and we don't rely on 401ks, mutual funds, or traditional real estate investing.
In fact, many of us don't even own the properties that fund our freedom. If you ask the money experts out there, they'd say what we do is impossible, yet it's happening every single day.
It's happening through a new niche called short-term rentals.
We are Short-Term Rental Nation, and these are our secrets. What's going on, STR Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Short-Term Rental Secrets Podcast. I am your host, Mike Sjogren, here as always with my main man and brother from another mother, Mr. Emmanuel Pani. What is up, E?
My brother, so good to see you. I've missed recording shows. It's been a little while. We just came back from Nashville. I don't know what it is with that town, bro. It's just like I can never leave that town without getting sick. It's just something about it. It doesn't matter if I behave myself. I didn't go to a honky tonk this year. I didn't stay out late. I
think it's in your head because you didn't get any of your fruit.
I couldn't find fruit. It's a weird town, but the conference was absolutely incredible. We're gonna do a recap show so that people that were in there can get an idea. But I loved it. Being there every single year has been great. Just to see it grow, and the level of speakers that we had, it was amazing. And so yeah, it was great. And our team, the way our community has grown, and the amount of people that listened to the show and came up to our booth. We did a booth called Listings and Lattes, where we will review your listing and give you a latte or any kind of coffee you wanted. And I had so many of you that came up just to introduce themselves, say hi, get a latte, and I absolutely love it. It's actually one of my favorite parts about going to any conference is just meeting new guys that listen to the show and just hearing your stories and how you guys have grown. And I remember some of you from conference 1 with your 2, 3, 5 listings, and now you come up and tell me I have 15, 20, and just how your life has changed. It is the most meaningful part about what I do. The reason why I know I coach, the reason why Mike does what he does. It's honestly I would say it's the best part of my job.
100%.
It's seeing you guys and hearing your stories and how your life has changed and your family's life has changed, and every time. And since the conference got bigger, there were just more people, so more of that.
Yeah, man.
I love that.
Getting over 2,000 people together is it was pretty awesome, man. So
it's wild.
We'll do another episode where we do a full debrief and kind of share some notes and stuff like that. But we hung out with some of our friends, Natalie and Tatianna, at the conference. Some of my favorite people out there, and they've got their own event coming up in a couple weeks. So I wanted to get them on here, talk to them about that, and just catch up because it was a minute. It's tough. I love seeing, it's like a homecoming every year for WealthCon, right? Where we see all of our friends. But I'm always running around doing stuff kind of behind the scenes, getting ready, whatever. So I don't get to spend a ton of time with everybody. But I did get to see him for a few minutes, gave him a big hug, and I'm excited for their event. And they're doing some pretty cool stuff. And I think that some of the things that we talked about on the interview about just getting clarity and figuring out what the hell you want. And it's not always just go, 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 grow. I think a lot of people can relate to that. And it's a breath of fresh air for a lot of people that feel like it's like this contest of, oh, well, Mike and E have all these properties and all these doors. I need to get to X number of units. You don't have to, man. It's not a competition. You got to decide what's right for you. So.
Yeah, 100%. And also the thing that there's different seasons. And I think the idea that it's a season to grow all the time is not a realistic thing. And I love giving the example of plants and nature. If you're constantly planting, the ground eventually is going to stop giving you fruit. The ground needs time. And that's why people cycle through things, right? And going through the same concept for you and your business and your life and your family and everything else. It's such an important way to create the longevity, because I think that the other component is I love what I do and I want to do it for the long term in different ways, shape, and forms while still enjoying it. And I think if you push it, you're going to burn yourself out. And then you're going to leave an industry that is so fun, so great. And it's really your fault because you just chose to focus on the wrong things all the time. So we don't want that. And then another thing that I loved that we talked about was the psychology of space. Our friend Tatianna is a super great home designer, Airbnb designer, and she brought in this whole concept of psychology of space that I find is super interesting, especially if you have a few and great units on just how to make them even better. So yeah, it was a great show. I really, really enjoyed it.
Love it. Well, again, as always, appreciate you guys and enjoy the show. What is going on, STR Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Short-Term Rental Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Sjogren, here as always with my main man and brother from another mother, Mr. Emmanuel Pani. And I'm excited, man. We've got a couple badass ladies in the house today. And I want to dive right in because we got to hang with them a little bit last week. I want to spend more time, but I was getting dragged around in a million different directions, as you guys can appreciate, because we'll talk about some goodness you guys have going on. But welcome back to the show, Miss Natalie Palmer and Tatianna Taylor-Tait, two of the legendary females in the industry. How you guys doing?
We're great. Thank you so much, Mike and E, for having us. I know we both have had solo shows on here before, but it's nice to do this with my partner in crime. So thank you.
Yes, thank you guys. It's good to be back, and I can't wait to chat and see where everyone's at.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't remember what episodes you guys were on, but we'll link them down in the show notes. But why don't we just kind of catch the listeners up on, let's just say 2023 going into now. What have you guys been up to? Where are you based out of? Just a little quick recap.
Natalie?
Sure. So yeah, just a quick refresh. So I'm based in Southern California, and then I do a lot of co-hosting, and I have one investment property in the Big Bear market. All my listings are there right now. And 2023 was honestly a weird year for me. I didn't grow my co-hosting business at all, which was very intentional, but we've been trying to get into some other investment strategies. So we're looking for land. I really want to build out an Airstream village. So we're trying to figure out a good place to do that. And we're building an ADU in our detached garage. So just kind of saving up funds to do an addition on our house and then build that out. So working with architects and getting the plans and everything for that done. So it was a slower year last year on the investment side, but we definitely ramped up a lot on the content creation side and more planning for our event, Level Up Your Listing Summit. So pivoted a little bit, but I feel like 2024 is the year to go back into investing and growing that for me personally. Tatianna?
Yeah, so I am still in Vancouver, Canada, working across all of North America, so in Canada and the States, still doing interior design as well as some co-hosting property management at the same time. To agree with Natalie, I didn't really grow my portfolio much further. I had more focus on clients and doing design for them. A big shift for me last year was really kind of honing in on the psychology of space with our designs and being more intentional with that. So it was really cool to see a shift from, of course, everyone is big in the guest experience, but really putting more intention behind that and seeing what we can build. I actually just at the end of last year completed a large project for one of your mastermind students, Mike. So it was cool to see that come to fruition. And then other than that, I did some speaking for some more design events and everything. But no, good to go into 2024. I am more probably in a relaxed mindset. So trying to kind of take a break from those things after our summit and focus on my own personal projects.
Love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
I have so many directions we can go into. I don't know if I want to talk about the psychology of space, because the moment that came out of your mouth, I was like, ooh.
I think we should, because one of the things
it's interesting,
One of the things I said from stage, everybody's like, what are you focusing on this year? A lot of it is revenue management, and then just refreshing some of the properties that we've had for 5, 6, 7 years that they're not good enough anymore. Mm-hmm. I literally just got a text from a friend of mine, very successful business person. He's like, hey man, what's the story with STRs? Like, I noticed my revenue was down 30% last year. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, I need to see your properties because they're probably just not good enough anymore. And a lot of that comes down to the design and the amenities and just the overall experience. can't just throw a deal up on Airbnb and just make a boatload of money anymore. It's a little more competitive now.
And
Yeah.
that's
So walk
true.
us through it. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, so the psychology of space is basically, it's so much more than just great design. It's understanding the mental and the physical behind it. So really how, for example, increasing natural light in your home, and that can be done. You don't have to put in new windows or floor to ceiling windows or anything like that most of us can't afford. That can just be done by increasing the height of your curtains. You can see in Natalie's actual behind Natalie, her curtains are to the ceiling there, which actually allows more natural light to pull in. And from that, just doing something so small like that, you can actually increase your guest serotonin levels, which means you're reducing anxiety. Your serotonin levels is your happy hormone, so they're going to be more positive in the space. You're going to increase their sleep while decreasing depression. So there's so many values to actually kind of taking these things into consideration when you're designing spaces. And then especially with this year, and I kind of wanted to ask you guys your opinion on this, so we'll see where we go with this. But I feel like there has been a huge shift. And especially going into 2024, I feel like it's catching up with people now. And they're starting to realize, oh, this funk is now catching up with me. How do I get rid of it? And this year, when I was looking at all these trends of what's going to be up and coming, is especially in the short-term rental space, is you're going to find more natural materials being used. So travertine, limestone. People want to really bring the outside inside and have more tranquil spaces. The other thing that you're going to see is more spa retreat style. So cold plunges, saunas in place in properties. Those I feel like are going to be the new amenities that are going to be standing out, because wellness is super big this year more than anything. I think COVID finally caught up with people, and we're seeing the after effects that we didn't realize would be kind of showing face.
I love that. And like, I love the whole like wellness aspect of it. That's how I travel. Like, that's primarily like what I kind of care about, that and the food, obviously, but that's just me. Does that also go towards the kind of materials that you're putting into properties? So are we moving away from the like Art Deco kind of cold like leather couches and more towards like the warmer like comfy couch cloth type of thing, or does that not go into that?
There are still some aspects of Art Deco that is still popular and will be popular, at least for this year. You're going to see more for material wise, as I mentioned, travertine, limestone. You're going to see a little less marble, but it's still there, or marble lookalikes for quartz. The other thing we are going to see that is kind of rearing its head, which I actually was surprised to see it come back, is going to be more high gloss cabinets. They're coming back, which I was like, I don't know if I want that to come back, but it is. And chrome. So chrome is replacing brass and your matte black finishes. So you're definitely going to see a lot more chrome and stainless coming back into play.
Interesting. And it's funny because like that's what I thought the psychology of it was, more of like just not the design of it, but like everything else that goes into it. And so how does the psychology of space reflect in your project, Natalie, in creating an Airstream kind of village? Because I assume there is also a whole psychology in the concept of a village that it's very, very interesting in like how you all of it, right? Like how you're going to build it, what amenities you put in it, are you providing community centers, are you providing places to gather? Like, what does that look like? How big of a place are you thinking? How many Airstreams? I love
Yeah,
Airstreams.
absolutely.
Like the concept of an Airstream to me has always been fascinating.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Before I jump into that too, I'll address this point because so the 10 properties that I manage, they're all condos in the exact same condo complex. So literally they have the same layout, same square footage, same floor plan, same shared pool, shared hot tub, same management, same cleaner. Like everything is so standardized. And the only thing different amongst those 10 listings is the design and how much each of the owners I work with was willing to put into it. And our worst performing property makes 40,000 a year, and those owners, I'm like begging them to reinvest and upgrade things, and that's all it's doing right now. Our best performing property makes 85. So more than double, with all other factors being equal, and everything Tatiana said about when people stay in a nicer place, they're happier guests, it stays cleaner. It's just crazy that top performing property, we charge the most, we have the least issues, we never have guests asking for refunds or anything. Our cleaners leave it cleaner. Like the psychology, I think, extends so far just beyond the guest experience too. Like our cleaners are happier to work in those properties. When we call our handyman, he's like, "Oh, I get to go to that one. Awesome." So yeah, I've just totally noticed that. Like it's crazy how big a difference design can make. And that's a lesson I'm taking with me into this Airstream Village project for sure. Everything
Yeah.
Tatiana said, the very like organic materials and wanting to incorporate cold plunges or like a private deck in front of each one with a hot tub. I think that that's so important. I've noticed too, I still love a good, fun, cheeky wallpaper or pattern. I think that those aren't going away anytime soon. But I do think people are rejecting a bit of the like consumerism out there. Like I think when you check into a place where every single wall is a different pattern and your whole shelf is just cluttered with different tchotchkes and like cheap shit you bought at Home Goods, I think people are kind of over it. It's like, is this just going to end up in a landfill one day? Like, what is this
Mhm.
doing here collecting dust? And so, yeah, I think that that's going to be like a big craving. Again, those aren't going away just yet. If you did just wallpaper your entire home, you're still good. Don't go peeling it off. But I do think that there's just more of a transition into like grounded spaces, like even I don't know if you can incorporate like sitting on the floor or something or like a fire pit outside. People love that right now.
Some big cushions. Yeah. Yeah. And I think no element of everything is of it ever the answer. And what comes to mind to me is people that like do entire, like go to rooms to go and you buy the entire bedroom set. It just feels so,
Manufactured.
yeah, just
Something mass
unexciting,
produced.
right? Like, yeah, it's just unexciting. And I think like where we're going with our industry overall, and in terms of like what I want to do as a traveler, I rather some like artistic kind of component to it in a way that like it feels that I'm not in a showroom, because then I'll just go to a hotel, and the
Mhm.
hotel one, that the quality of the level, but even there, it's never all cookie, like the same stuff, right? Like the bedside usually different and everything else. And so it's an element of like also thinking about like what people want. And like I would rather you not have all the knickknacks, but have actual amenities that people can use. Because how many people don't have extra blankets on the couch, but then you have a wall full of shit that nobody can use?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is the point? So Natalie, do you know like how large of a piece of land you're looking for? How many airstrips fit in there, and how long does it take you to do it? What's that like?
Yeah. Yeah. So the markets I'm looking at to do this are kind of like somewhere in the Southwest. I'm thinking like Sedona or something, maybe New Mexico. That's sort of the vibe I have in mind for it. And I'm thinking like 10 Airstreams that seems like the sweet spot just kind of for the vision I have. I would love each one to have like a private deck and its own hot tub, but then maybe some shared amenities too, like a communal fire pit, some sort of structure where people could have like weddings there and events there, and book out the whole thing for their bridal party or whatever. So that's the plan right now. But I originally really wanted to do this in Southern California. And unfortunately, every county here has banned you can't get short-term rental permits on anything without a foundation. So like no tree houses, no yurts, no Airstreams, no glamp sites. So I'll have to do it a little further from home, which is fine, but I'm sad because I wanted to be able to visit it myself and it'll be harder to get to now.
Just out
Yeah.
of curiosity, I love the look of Airstreams. What's the cost of something like that? Because like some of them you can spend a lot,
Yeah.
but I'm just curious. Like, have you researched like what that would be like ballpark per
Yep.
unit?
So
And are you buying them new, or you buy them and then renovate them? Can you
so
renovate?
we
Like you can renovate one?
yeah, you can. And it's crazy because people will buy them because just an empty shell of an Airstream is like $3,500. So cheap. But the problem with them is that every single piece in there, you can't just like go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy your your nuts and bolts and the aluminum paneling. It's all custom. It all has to be Airstream brand in order to fit. So the renovation will probably be $50,000 to get like the custom cabinets that fit inside the interior and everything. And how many months are you going to spend renovating it? It's definitely a big, heavy burden. We do own one already. It was a 2021 model, and we bought it for, it was $70,000. And then because I'm in LA County, we had to do 10% sales tax on it. So another $7,000 just in tax. So they are pricey. I know AutoCamp. I just heard, if you guys are familiar with the AutoCamp brand, they do Airstream villages in different parks. So like Yosemite has one, I think Yellowstone maybe, Joshua Tree has one. I heard that they actually commission totally custom models through Airstream. And like every year they order 10 to 20 completely custom models, which makes sense because one thing I'm running into is we cannot put a smart lock on ours. It's not compatible at all. There's just like a physical key. And coming from the short-term rental world, I'm like, I can't imagine not having a smart lock, and guests can make copy of that key, and I'm not going to be able to change the code between guests. So I do know that like AutoCamp, they're custom commissioning their own perfect models to fit what they need.
And the one you have is what size? Like how many? Is a 1-bedroom?
Mm,
Like are they
yeah,
typically 1-bedroom with
19 feet. Yeah, it's a Bambi 19 CB. If anyone out there is an Airstream fan and knows that model, but it's not even a queen bed. It's like somewhere between a full and a queen. It's tiny. I think for two people, like it's cute, but to live in it long term as a couple would be tight. And then they have the dining table that folds out and everything. There's so many models they have, though. Their bigger models, I think, do go up to a king size bed. But even the mattress, you have to buy custom because the edges of it are rounded to fit inside the shell. So you can't even just go to like, a mattress firm to buy your mattress. You have to get a custom Airstream mattress. So yeah,
you gotta love just the hassle, because like creating a business where you pretty much
I learned from
guarantee
Apple,
yourself.
dude.
Yeah, dude, like it
Yeah.
is brilliant. Like it's brilliant because you're like, you hate it as a user, but then as a business owner, you're like,
Respect.
what a fucking game. Like this is a
I
game. It's
know.
probably like they're just slightly, like just annoyingly slightly off, and you're just like, nothing.
You'll
Okay.
put up with it though. I know. And even like, so right now we don't have it permanently parked anywhere. So I was looking at Outdoorsy as a site to rent it on. And that's the one where, you don't have to have a permanent address, but people can come pick up the trailer and take it somewhere. And on there, the difference between RVs, just a standard RV versus an Airstream. RVs, people are renting them for like $70 a day, and Airstreams $200 a day. So there is definitely something, just people can see like the quality and the design and everything and do want to pay more. So I think it's worth every penny we've spent, but it's not like just an easy get it up and running. And I've seen so many people were like, yeah, we just bought an empty shell for $3,000. Now what? And I'm like, get ready for $50,000 plus in renovation to get that thing up to a standard that you want.
But if you think of it, if you're getting an ADR of like $200,
Mm-hmm.
and you're into it for under $100,000,
Yep.
like, that's silly. That's going to be a silly cash on cash return. So,
Yeah.
I actually used to co-host for a client in Atlanta that one of the properties was an Airstream. So it did do well for the whole experience, but there's a lot of logistics to get it to run. So Natalie, what you mentioned about the door locking, that was one thing, because it's tricky for people to, even if you don't have it custom, it's tricky to lock it from the inside. And then, of course, it depends if this toilet for this one was a composting one. So even having the cleaners do that turnover was definitely an experience for everyone.
That's a
Yeah,
huge thing too, is wherever we do put it, I actually really want to build out like outdoor kitchens and an outdoor shower. People could obviously still use the kitchen and shower inside, but I'm hoping that encourages them not to, because it's so much harder to clean it indoors. And then going back, to what you were saying, just like wellness retreats, I feel like are so in right now. So I'm hoping that doing that, it actually fits with the branding and the avatar that we're trying to reach, and makes it a little easier on our cleaning team as well.
Hey,
I'd book it.
awesome.
I want that experience.
All right, we'll let you know when it's up and running.
I would do at least one night. I joke all the time that my idea of like going camping is a 5-star hotel on the beach. where I can see the ocean. I'm like, that's my kind of camping. The idea of being, I don't know, it's just weird. I grew up also like,
Glamping. Yeah.
yeah, going on a sailboat. And like, to me, like, I remember getting off the sailboat, taking the first shower in a real shower, or be able to go to the bathroom without having to like do the pumping thing. I'm like, just normal life. So we had Nashville last week. I would love for you guys to give me just a bit of your experience, how that was. Some major, I mean, there were so many great speakers, one of them being Mike. So give me a little bit of like, what you guys liked about it? What did you learn? You guys have come to every single one of them. So
Yeah. And we'll continue
We're
to.
fans.
Yeah, we're big fans. Do you guys know actually Tatianna and I met for the first time at STR Wealth Conference? The first
I
one.
still remember. I still remember
2022?
when Tatiana introduced me to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
we are diehard fans. We'll go back every year. That conference is so special for us and like our friendship and everything. But it was great. It's such a good show. It's always so good to reunite with everyone there. This was definitely the most low key year for me. Every other year I have
How come?
lit.
How come, Natalie?
Well, there's a baby on the way, but every other year in
That might be
Nashville,
why.
I would literally stay out until 4 a.m., get back to the Airbnb, and then leave for the airport for a 6 a.m. flight. And this year, I was like in bed by 10 p.m. every night. It was so different, but it was good. The Airbnb we were at with Mark from Boostly and Will Slickers and Jeremy Worden from B&B Calc, Olivia Totti. We had a great group that we stayed with and did a lot of masterminding in our own Airbnb and stuff. So it's just fun to connect even outside of the conference itself.
Yeah, I think it's like it's more of like a catch up with your friends time while learning. So it's so cool to see all the different companies kind of come together, or the talks from the stage. I really like Mike's. I liked yours because I saw from being there from the first year and the second year, and like seeing that change, and then you kind of come back full circle. Like when you actually showed your mood board again and showed the difference. Oh, that hit so hard. I was like, yes, to like see that and really put it into perspective for people that were in the audience that might not believe in like the power of manifesting and putting those vision boards together. I think that really hit home.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, that was pretty special. And then when Damon echoed it, I was like, I'm telling you guys, man, stuff works. So
yeah, my favorite moment was Caden, and like because I have known Caden through the little kid that runs off the screen whenever we're talking, and Mike is like, "Come say hi," and he's like, "No," and like now seeing him and like just seeing him like come on stage on Mike. So if you were in the conference, Mike walks on stage with Caden on the phone. And Kaden just said hi to a couple thousand people. I'm like, bro, you didn't say hi to me when it's just me, you, and your on Zoom for years, right? But it just goes to show that like the investment in the mindset goes so much, like it's for everybody. Like it's for your entire inner circle. And like when you don't feel like it, think about what it does for your kids. If you have kids, right? It's like, dude, you're gifting him things that like we've had to work our ass for later down in life after so many years of programming versus working on it when you're 8, 9, 10. It gets a lot easier because your program is just so much newer, and some of it is not even in yet. So you guys have a little thing going on soon as well.
not so little anymore.
A little compared to your guys' event.
Last year, all I know is that you guys had one of the best swag bags with some of the best pants and the most comfortable t-shirt that I still want one of. That Tatiana keeps promising me one. And she just teases me. She's like, I'll send it to you, I promise. I still don't have it, guys.
I'll send it.
I'll
No,
send
it's
it
okay.
to you. I'm the one who had
okay.
it.
On the air.
No,
Who's getting one now?
Tatiana, yeah. No, Tatiana's gonna send it to me, and you guys will be on next year to promote your next conference. I still won't have one, so it's okay. But if I do get one, I'll wear it the next time you guys come on the show.
I think
so
you have
tell
to
us
come to
about
Scottsdale to collect it in person, at this point.
You will get a special pass because this is a women's only event, right? The Level Up Your Listing Conference.
So
Wow.
we do brand it as a women's event, but we're actually shifting a little bit this year. We're expecting about 15% male attendees. We've literally had men like begging to come. We had so many women trying to buy tickets, and they were like, "My husband will only let me go if he can come because he does this business with me. So can he tag along?" So we are excited to add a little bit of testosterone to the mix this year, but we're still trying to keep it very true to our like values as a conference. I think one thing that like differentiates us from other events we've been to is nobody asks you like how many doors do you have? That's just not even a question that crosses people's minds. A lot of the questions we'll have that people are asking each other is like, "Hey, I have to let my cleaner go this week and it's the first time I've ever fired anyone and I have a pit in my stomach. What do I do?" So we really pride ourselves on a lot of like real conversations and stuff happening, and yeah, happy to see that continue.
Yeah, that's awkward. Like I hated firing people, and I still do. And it's never a pleasant conversation, and also because it depends what your upbringing is. But like I just shy away from conversations like that. So it's definitely good, and it's not one of those things that like because the normal person is gonna look at you and be like, "Boo-hoo," like champagne problems. Like like you're a business owner, you have to fire somebody, right? But it's and maybe somebody that's been in your team for a long time, that became part of your family, and they're just not longer leveling up the way you need them to. And you're like, yo, you gotta go.
Can we
Cool.
get
Do you have
I
a
want a preview of what's going down at this event. So
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna ask them. Like, yeah, do you have a lineup? Like what's your
I
speakers you're most excited about?
yeah, Natalie, I just wrote it out yesterday.
I know. So quick overview, our event is Level Up Your Listing Summit and co-founded by Tatianna and I, and it's in Scottsdale, Phoenix, Arizona, March 11th through 13th. And yeah, Tatiana was just updating the production schedule yesterday, so you should have this more top of mind than I do. But some of our speakers on day one are Ashley Kerr from Bigger Pockets. She's going to be talking about a roadmap to your first investment in 90 days. We've got Chloe Elise from Deeper Than Money. It's a financial literacy brand, and she really helps break down other investment strategies and just overall financial literacy and how to fit that piece into real estate. We've got Pace Morby closing us out that day, and we saw him speak at STR Wealth. He was phenomenal, so we're really excited to have him. Day two, Tatiana, who's notable for that day?
We have Emily Lethgo speaking about unlocking success, so social media strategies for short-term rental growth. We have Turno doing a great hands-on workshop that we're excited for. I'll be leading our interior design panel, so we have great designers on there, including Summerled Designs, Bridget for the whole It's Bridget bitch on Instagram, and then Jessica Deuce as well, which is the founder of Vacation Rental Design Summit. And then, of course, we have myself speaking. And today, actually, am I allowed to say what we just added today?
I think she's confirmed. She hasn't signed, but we'll shout out our final closing keynote is going to be Christy Wolf. If any of you are familiar with the famous potato Airbnb, she's got the Cocoon House, so a bunch of really unique stays.
Shipwrecked one.
Yeah.
A great treehouse in Hawaii. So we're really excited for that presentation as well.
love that. Yeah, those properties are sweet. I remember the first time I saw that potato, I was like, damn, really? Like that's so different, but it's just cool. And you can charge crazy money to stay in a potato.
Crazy money. It's booked out like a year in advance. And it's so cool because we just actually talked to her right before recording this. And if you talk to her, she does not care about the money at all. She's like, the money is basically just so I can continue doing this. But she's just so lit up about creating like very unique creative spaces and hospitality first. And I think that that's kind of how Tatiana and I feel. Like both of us took breaks from our investing business last year to sort of regroup and figure out what feels right moving forward. And I'm noticing that that's such a big trend in the industry. You guys have a podcast. I don't know if you've noticed this, but all the guests that I'm interviewing lately, everybody's like, yeah, this is going to be a year of maybe selling or offloading some properties and reinvesting into my best performing ones. It seems like a lot of people right now are just trying to concentrate on what's working and leave some of the burnout out. So we're excited to focus on that a lot this year too.
Yeah, and I think it just goes overall with the trends. Like once things are exploding and booming, people have that tendency of just grabbing onto things just because that's what other people are doing. But we had Eric Muller, to me, feels like the best kind of fit to this kind of situation. It's just like, yeah, it's time to kind of slow down and really think about what you're doing. And it's also in terms of to guarantee your success, creating the quality of product that you want. I feel like people need to just slow it down and reconnect with their properties, because some of your people, when is the last time you walked all of your properties?
Yeah.
So if you have 50, 60, 70 properties, when is the last time you have physically walked all of them?
One of my biggest takeaways from STR WealthCon this year was actually Jamie Lane from AirDNA. His speech, he mentioned he was showing the quality of reviews and how they change when you're just a single operator with maybe 5 to 10 listings, all the way to these big property management companies that have 500 plus. And you could just see such a sharp decline in the reviews when they took on more properties. So I think that was for anybody who is in a smaller, you run more of a tighter ship and you have a more controlled portfolio, find encouragement in that. You don't have to get up to 500 units. You can really maximize the profit you're making on a smaller portfolio and just have that better control and deliver a better experience you're actually proud of.
And I think to add on top of that, determining, and why we both had a big shift, figuring out what is enough for you. What does that look like? And I'm sure even Mike, with you having some changes along the way and new exciting additions for this year, I'm sure you've even thought of that. What is enough? Where are my priorities now with my business? And I think a lot of people are keeping that in mind for this year.
I said it at the hotel workshop. I'm like, if you look at what I've been doing the last couple of years, I do one deal a year. It's just a big deal. You know what I mean? My time.
It's a little bigger each year too.
Yeah. Right. Went from 13 to 21 to 57. We're doing some additions to some properties this year, but I got into this so I could spend more time with my family. Right. I continue to make more money every year, which is awesome, but I never want to lose sight of why I started this. We got a baby coming in a week. I want to be present with my family. I get deals sent to me. I had 2 of them sent to me today. Could I do them? Yes. But it's do they excite me? No. And I have other priorities right now. So just, there's no right or wrong way to do it. My whole speech was about this in Nashville. I'm figure out what the hell you want and why you want it. And then just do that thing. It's that simple, but most people don't take the time to step back and think. Most of my time now is spent thinking. I don't do any of the operations, none of it. I'm not the one in there tinkering with pricing or messaging guests I've built a team that does all of that now. My time is spent on thinking and figuring out, all right, what's the next move and what's the vision for the company, and hanging out with you guys. I'm doing this stuff. This is the fun stuff. Right. So just be you, man. Don't feel like you got to compete with anybody else. It's just whatever's going to be right for you.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing to hear that. And one thing I've noticed with our industry, everybody hustles so hard for their first deal. And I always say, once you get one, it truly grows exponentially from there. You will have 2 so fast. You'll have 4 a month later. You'll have 8 6 months later. And I think that people hustled so long for that first deal that when the other opportunities come in, it's so hard for people to say no. They remember the grind at the beginning. But everything you guys are saying, I just couldn't agree with more. You have to figure out what's enough and when to say okay, I got into this to spend more time with my family, to leave a 9 to 5. Why am I working 24/7? I've missed the mark completely. So yeah, if you need to pause and think about that, and just make sure that success is feeling aligned for you and you're not doing it to impress people on Instagram.
Amen. Amen with that. Well, I appreciate both of you guys for coming on. I wish I got to hang out with you more in Nashville.
I know
it's
hosting.
the big family reunion, and then I'm all right, I get a quick hug, and then I get pulled somewhere else. But
I run every time I see them. I just run towards them, and I'm I gotta say hi, and then I run back to the booth.
I know.
It's
we
easy.
spent a
It's
lot of
easy
time
to see
with you.
Tatianna. Yeah, it's easy to see Tatianna because I'm hair. I'm oh, I know this one.
Easy to find me.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember
Yeah.
that girl who walked by and complimented Tatiana's hair? And I swear E was so offended he didn't get a compliment.
I didn't get a compliment. Like this girl, like, bro, she didn't even look my way. She was so smitten by, given though her hair looked incredible. And this girl was so smitten by this. She just looked at Tatiana and then she didn't even look at me and Natalie at all. She's like, your
He
hair
was
is
like,
amazing.
what about
Just
my hair?
walked away. I'm like, nothing. I'm like, okay. That's when you kind of want to like just kick her back foot out as she's walking away. No, I'm joking. I would never. But yes, it's such an honor to like have you guys on, and I'm so happy and I'm so excited for your conference, you guys.
And what's the site, just to make sure that the listeners get that?
Yeah, it's levelupyourlistingsummit.com. And if you guys actually use code STR Secrets, you will get $200 off your ticket.
Boom. Love that. Love that.
Thank you.
And again, I'm not saying that because I love these ladies, but I have heard nothing but good feedback about this event. So I wanted to make sure that we got them on so that you guys have some time to go get your tickets and get your butts out to sunny Scottsdale, because it's an awesome place. I've been to plenty of conferences out there. It's awesome. And I know that they will deliver and you guys will have a great time. So appreciate you guys. And I can't let you go, though, until we get to our last question, because I don't remember what you said last time, but I'm going to go look it up later.
Neither do I.
I don't know.
So the last question that we ask all of our guests is, what is your number one secret to success with short-term rentals?
Ooh, I feel like in theme of everything is like find what you're passionate about and really just go 100% into that.
I'll say this one because I've got a baby on the way. Mike, you do too, so this is relevant. I think a lot of people think that they have to build something kind of in spite of their kids, or like, you know, try to get around them to do it. And I would say use your kids as a catalyst. Every single time that my business has 10x has been lined up with the birth of one of my kids, and there's just some sort of intrinsic motivation you get in those moments. So that would be mine. Use them as fuel and not as an excuse.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
I love that. That is so powerful, because it's such a, I had a conversation with somebody, and again, I don't have kids and I'm not a woman, so it's very hard for me to speak when somebody, but somebody brings it up and it's like, well, I manage the house and I have 2 kids and I have 3 kids. And so the coaching me wants to be like, this is all bullshit, it's an excuse. And then the man in me that was married for a long time is like, you're going to get clocked in the face if you say that. So I'm like, you can say that. And it's, but I'm like,
I'll say it.
Because, I'm like, look around you. Like, there is plenty of women that create incredible businesses while growing a family. Like,
And
you had 2, did all your stuff, and now you have 1 more. Sorry, baby, you were saying?
Don't be afraid to ask for help, right, Natalie?
Oh, yeah. You got to lean on people for sure.
Love it. Well, again, ladies, thank you so much for coming on. Always a pleasure hanging out, and enjoy the conference. I know there's a lot that goes into it. Just remember to enjoy it in the moment, and I hope you guys have a blast in Scottsdale in a few weeks.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Hey, STR Nation, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. And in the comments, let us know what topics you want us to cover on upcoming episodes, and we'll make sure to get that in the books for you. And if you really want to learn how to launch, automate, and scale your short-term rental business, if you want to go deeper, then check out our free masterclass at strsecrets.com.